Okay, it's 2 o'clock, and that means it is time for Thriving Live. Welcome, 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 welcome. It is Tuesday, October 24th, and I believe this may be the 39th episode of Thriving Live. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is true. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it because a lot of things are changing right now, and I am making some big changes in my own life and in my creative work and my calendar and my schedule. And I'm excited to share it with you when it's time to share. And that also means once I know what's happening, because I don't always know what's happening, and I don't always know what I'm going to talk about when I jump on the show. And I have learned that I can essentially just trust my intuition and see what comes up. So if that works for you, I am really glad you're here. And if it doesn't, feel free to share that in the comments, either on Facebook Live. I'm streaming live to Facebook right now, or pop it into the comments on the YouTube channel once I have it uploaded. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'd love to hear what you'd like to see more of in the show in the future. I am, I'm working that all out, feeling closer and closer to having something that feels really right, and that I could then build a plan around. With, of course, space for the intuitive, for the whatever wants to show up in the space on any given day, which I don't always know what that's going to be. And as I said, and yeah, I think that's okay. So before we get too far in, I'd like to just ground and get present. And if you'd like, you can join me in this grounding practice. For me, I'm standing. If you're sitting, that's fine. You can stay sitting. It's really just about getting into our bodies and coming into the here and now, this space, this place, this time, and sort of letting go of all the things that preceded this moment, this time, and this call. So I am feeling my feet on the floor. I invite you to feel your seat in the chair or in the sofa or wherever you are currently sitting and being supported. And allow the gravity to be noticeable in your limbs and the extremities, right? So for me, in my feet and in my fingertips. For you, it might be in your seat or in your feet, however you are. So just noticing the gravity, the pull of gravity there. And imagine roots coming out of you through your feet, through your root system, and setting a root system, grounding into the earth. Feeling those roots getting nourished by the soil, kind of an excitement happening with these roots showing up in the soil, and the soil is so ready to receive those roots, so ready to nourish those roots. And those roots are able to pull that nourishment right up into your body, through your legs and through your pelvis and up through your torso and your chest and your shoulders and your arms, your back, bringing nourishment, bringing energy into your body from the earth's core, the nourishment of the earth, up through your chest, your throat, back of your neck, all the way up into your head, feeling that nourishment, that energy that's alive, this beautiful aliveness that's happening, and allowing it to continue all the way up through the crown of your head. Maybe you can even imagine branches, leaves, trees, plants, plant matter growing out of your head. You are a plant of the of the of the earth, being nourished by the soil and the sunshine, and that these leaves are getting all that they need to help nourish you, keep you healthy, vibrant, thriving, alive. We rely on all of these things. We rely on what this earth gives us, from the soil to the water, to the air, to the sunshine, to the rain, to the snow, the ice, all of it is part of what gives us life and allows us to be here on the planet at this time. And so, of course, we would want to honor that, honor the soil, honor the earth, honor the rain and the sun and the trees and the leaves and all of that, because it gives us life. It allows us to thrive. It helps us thrive. So just be there for a couple of moments, noticing your breath, noticing if there's any sway in your movement. Sometimes when we feel like we're doing a meditation, we have to sit really still and straight and stiff and all of that. But I encourage you to actually let go of that idea and just allow your body to flow and be as it wishes to be. You know, we are largely made of water, and water is never still, really. Certainly when there's movement in our bodies, there's movement in the water. When the water in our bodies moves, we can move our bodies with it. So you can play with that flow. You can bring it into your breath. You can exaggerate the stillness, or you can exaggerate the flow, or you can let it just continue to be subtle. However you wish it to be, you cannot do it wrong. That's the point. I'm going to do a few Kriya shoulder rolls where I inhale and raise my shoulders up to my ears. Hold the breath and bring them back so that they're almost kissing in the back. Probably can't see it, but trying to get those shoulder blades to kiss in the back. And then relax the shoulders on the exhale. Do that a couple more times. Inhale on the up. Roll them back. Holding. And relaxing them down on the exhale. Helps open up those shoulders, right? One more time. Inhale on the up. Hold as you bring them back. Try to kiss those together in the back of the shoulder blades, and relax on the exhale. You may notice that your shoulders want to hang back now, having that opportunity to open up like that. And I've noticed when I am doing a sitting meditation and I start that way, then when my hands rest, they're resting on my thighs, and my shoulders stay back, which is so refreshing, because usually they're more like this, like more forward and, forward towards the keyboard or forward towards the table or whatever. So this is just really nice opening of the shoulders. Being able to feel more open-hearted, more open to what magic there is to come from the universe and from people we meet and from things we find on the ground or in the subway or whatever it is, or a song that comes on. We're more open to experiencing the messages or the coincidences, the magic, however you like to call it, that show up in our lives every day. And I love to look for those. I love to look for those. You know, we're so conditioned, we're so used to paying attention to the things that we don't want in our world, that we don't want in our lives, that we don't want, as part of our experience. And so we're often giving so much attention to that. And with the laws of the universe, and evidently this is documented, proven, researched, what we focus on, we attract. And so if we're thinking about the things we don't want and we're giving all that attention to them, then we are actually continuing to attract it to us. And so I am certainly no master at this, but what I am attempting to do is when a thought comes up where it's like, oh, I really wish that wasn't the case, or I really wish I had more of X, Y, and Z, or something about how a person is behaving in my world that might be a little bit, I might be a little critical of, I am practicing. I have this new practice that I'm starting out with. And if you feel like doing it, do it with me. It is whenever I become aware of one of those sort of critical thoughts or negative thoughts, I instead turn to look at, well, what would I like it to be instead? What would the situation look like if I had either the opposite or what it is I do want? So let's say, for example, I feel some anxiety about having my bank account. One of my bank accounts is like under $500. It's like, oh, okay, that means time to be concerned and make sure I take care of that because these bills are coming in, the rent's due soon, blah, blah, blah. So there's that tendency, right? That's easy. That comes to me quite easily. And instead, what if I think about and feel into what it feels like when I'm nowhere near that threshold where I get the alert, right? Where the account is like, say, has $10,000 in it. So what does that feel like? That's what I want. Like, okay, so let me see in my mind's eye, the balance in my bank account showing $10,432 instead of $432, something like that. That's just a really simple example. And even better than that, trying to tap into what does that feel like? What would that feel like if that were the case, and make it as though it is the case, right? So we get to feel it as though it's true now. So I know for me, seeing a balance of $2,432 or whatever it is in my account would give me like a little bit of excitement, like, oh, good, like, oh, good, nothing to worry about right now. I'm so good right now. I have all that I need. In fact, I have more than I need right now, which feels really good. So with that sense of security and spaciousness, what is available to me in terms of my creativity or what I might choose to do next, either with a project or with my free time. I might say, for example, oh, that means I could take the afternoon off and go see an exhibition, or I could go out to Art Omai, for example, and walk around and see the sculpture show outside because it's such a gorgeous day. I won't do that today. These are the kinds of things that I could do when I access that feel good feeling, right? Of like, I have enough money in my bank account. I have nothing to worry about right now. I can think about how I want to bring the next thing forward, or I can send, I feel more calm, spacious, gracious, grateful for writing, my thank you notes to the people who sponsored my last project in New York, for example. Like, that feels really good. Oh, that would feel amazing. Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to do that. What else could I do? I could reach out to somebody who I think might benefit from hearing from me, hearing a cheerful friend call. I could start a new grant proposal, for example, or a project proposal or exhibition proposal, from this higher state. Whereas if I think back to how I feel when I look at the bank account and the notification says you've gone under $500 in your account, and then my brain's like, alert, alert. Then trying to make a decision on any of those things becomes really hard. Like, oh, should I do this first, or should I do that, or shouldn't I do this instead, or shouldn't I do that? And then it just gets really muddled, really confusing and anxiety provoking. Like, I just feel like, I don't want to do anything, like kind of a get me out of here feeling. So it's way more contracted, and so contracted that even my mind contracts and my thoughts contract, and I don't have like high level thoughts, right? Like higher capacity, greater capacity to go do something that's really productive or creative or nourishing for myself or for someone else, proactive for my own well-being or for the well-being of others. So that's like a really simple version of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can think of another one that feels like it needs to be shared. I'm not getting one at the moment. Okay, well, actually, yes, here's one. The conflict that's happening in Gaza, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, where our governments are stepping in or not stepping in, saying things, not saying, like there's a lot there to really feel, a lot of different feels, a lot of different difficult emotions and thoughts, and so much comes in, right? So much comes in. And what happens for you when that happens? Like, what's the energy that happens? Do you feel angry? Do you feel heartbroken? Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel rageful, scared, immense sadness and grief? I mean, all of these things. I can feel all of these things. And that situation and the situation in Ukraine, anywhere where people are suffering, these feelings show up for me. And from what I've learned about thriving and growing, personal growth work, being able to function at a higher level, that we don't want to escape our emotions. We don't want to bypass the emotions. The emotions are there to be felt, and that's okay, right? Like, that's important to acknowledge. Like, yes, I am feeling so much grief. I am feeling so much sadness and so much anger that this is happening, so much, and you can name them and feel them, acknowledge them, because we are humans. We're here. We get to experience all of these feelings, like it or not, right? And as one of my favorite mentors, guys, Ferdman, often says, he's like, we don't need to find ways of feeling better. We need to find ways to get better at feeling, right? If we're like from childhood on told that we're not supposed to feel that way, or, you're not supposed to cry, or not supposed to get angry, we're just taught over and over again, like, don't show your emotions, which is like, how do we not show our emotions, right? How do we have to like tamp them way back so that we might not even feel them, right? I remember when a therapist started asking me, like, well, what are you feeling? What are your feelings? What emotion do you have? I'm like, I have no idea. I could not even begin to describe. Like the whole thing about emotions and feelings was so like, nope, no room for that here. We need to just, I don't know, be automatons or something. I don't know what people were thinking, but I grew up feeling like emotions are bad. We're not supposed to be angry. We're not supposed to be sad. We're not supposed to be this or that. And that's pretty messed up, actually, right? Like, why not? It's healthy. It's healthy to feel our emotions. It's healthy to acknowledge our emotions. There are some amazing resources free online that you can download. I have this beautiful emotion dial. Basically, it's rainbow colored and it shows all these different emotions and like primary emotions and secondary, and they get more and more nuanced, which I really appreciate. I mean, I've learned so much about identifying emotions by having a guide like that. Like, oh, I didn't even realize this would be called an emotion or that. So if you need help finding and identifying your emotions, you can always look that up online. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, so feeling the emotions around these big issues, these big conflicts that are happening in the world. So how is it what would you prefer to see in the world, right? So obviously we can't just go and stop the whole thing. I'm sure none of us have like the perfect right answers that are going to solve all the problems for everyone. So I am not spending time on trying to fix it. You know what I mean? What I'm choosing to do when these emotions come up and I acknowledge them, I ask, how would I love for the situation to look? You know, maybe not the answers, but how does it feel when it's all resolved? How does it feel to see humans coming together and loving each other, holding each other, supporting each other, caring for each other, grieving together, acknowledging all the losses, and being in a more peaceful state. I'm thinking of it more like a trance state in a way, a coming together with love as the guiding force, and love for all the lives lost, all love for all the parties in the conflict, love for the people who are still close to us, love for ourselves, love for all the people that are impacted by this, love for the earth and the environment as it is also impacted, and coming from a place of helping and care, compassion, love. Again, I'm not claiming that this is a solution to the conflicts. However, it is a way to access something more. I'm not sure what to call it. Well, again, like in my earlier example, when I am in a state of feeling love and care and compassion for others and for myself and for the whole situation, I'm in a more peaceful state, first of all. And so my heart is expanded and my mind is more expansive. My thoughts are more expansive. Perhaps some ideas might come up, people to reach out to, people to offer support to, maybe something I could do to help people in this situation. either nearby or far away, or through an organization, or through our government, or whatever it is, like in the expansive space, more ideas come through, right? And so I find it valuable to be able to move into that space after we've acknowledged the feelings that are so heavy and hard to hold. And so moving into this space after that allows for more clarity and creativity and kindness and softness, so that from this place, I may actually be able to help someone in a difficult situation, whether it has anything to do with that conflict or not. It has to do with me being present here in, I guess, one of my higher states, you could say, a state where I feel I can be generous, I can be loving, I can be kind, can be curious, I can be compassionate, I can be forgiving. I can trust that I am safe in this moment. And from this place of safety, what can I do to maybe help someone feel a little more safe wherever they are, or a little more loved, or a little more understood, or seen, acknowledged? So it's funny how our emotions can be that way too, like a person. They just want to be seen and heard and understood. And so that's really been, I think, my greatest practice over the past year or two, is learning how to get better at feeling my feelings and at how to elevate my thoughts, essentially, for lack of a better term, elevate my thoughts and my energy so that I can be more creative and more effective, more loving and more compassionate in my world, in my existence. And maybe that's going to help someone. It certainly isn't going to hurt anyone. And I often feel that if I'm in a negative frame of mind, despair or grief or anything, that or hopelessness, but then I risk kind of contaminating other people's space, right? Maybe they're not feeling that way, and if I bring that into the space, then I am contributing towards more negative energy, right? More negative emotions, and people don't need more of that. We do not need more of that. We've got plenty. You know why? Because that's all we get to see in the media, and that's in the social media, in the news, TV, radio, all of those places. And then, of course, in conversations, I run into someone I haven't seen in years, and then instead of being like, "Hey, what's exciting? What are you working on?" It's kind of like, "Oh my God, this thing is going on," and we can't deny it. It is going on. It's happening. And what can we do about it? We acknowledge it. We feel our feelings about it. We don't dwell in there. We don't dwell in there. See if there's a way to feel better. Get better at feeling the feelings, and get better at changing your thoughts, and your emotions will change. When you change your thoughts, your emotions will change. And when your emotions change, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, you have a different level of energy for doing things, for action, for taking action. So that's really critical too. And I've found that especially useful in terms of creativity. Actually, I'm saying that, I'm thinking it will be very useful in terms of creativity. I am not using that it's not a regular practice yet. And my friend Adam Roa actually recommends that for entering into the creative space before beginning to do the creative work, writing the poem or the song or drawing a picture or painting or whatever it is, starting a dance. So yeah, although that's not my regular practice yet, I am committing to making it a part of my practice. So I'm curious about you. What are you going to do? What is part of your practice? What helps you feel like you're thriving? What does thriving look like to you? I would be so interested in hearing your answers. I hope you'll put them in the comments. And I am signing off. I'm going to leave you to this beautiful day and maybe see you next week. Join me if you'd like to. I send you so much love, and I see the beauty in you, the light, the creativity, the love inside of you. And I am so grateful that you are here. Thank you.